Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we will be going over my Season 0 tier list for all of the team-ups in Marvel Rivals. Now, if you saw my hero tier list, you'll know I don't think team-ups have a huge impact compared to just hero comp itself. And that still holds true for the most part. But there are some team-ups that could end up giving a decent advantage still, if not changing a character's utility entirely. As always, the tier list will be based roughly on a normal distribution. So 1 in S and F, 2 in A and D, and 4 in B, and 5 in C. This list, unlike my hero tier list, will have an actual system for tiers. S and A tier are team-ups I think have a significant impact on how you play a hero, team comp, or can consistently sway a fight. B and C are for more niche team-ups, or ones that have less of an impact. And D and F are for team-ups that have little to no impact, or even detrimental to use. First up is the Gamma Charge team-up for Hulk and Strange or Iron Man. Now, while Strange has been great in every rank so far, Hulk and Iron Man have not only really started becoming competitively viable, but even great in GM. And although I am still a little bit bearish on Iron Man, maybe that's just the range DPS player in me talking. And I cannot deny that the Gamma Charge gives him a massive boost competitively, as he goes from a chip damage ult farm to a DPS who can quickly burst down enemies with his beam or pulses. I think this alone puts his team up at least in B tier. However, its slight boost to Strange as well, who is already one of the top tanks, makes this an A tier team up for sure. Ammo overload for Rocket and Punisher or Bucky is crazy. Not only is it a team-up for who I consider two of the best DPS in the game, that are regularly available after bans at least, but it does crazy work too. If you see this drop down as a tank or squishy alike, be prepared to run behind cover, because I've seen Punisher shotgunning a Venom down in a blink of an eye, and as a Bucky main, this is one of my favorite things to burst down a Groot with headshots. What elevates this for me as well is the fact that it's indestructible and lasts for a decent amount of time, enabling the DPS to grab some quick value at the start of a fight, or clean up a mid-fight. I have it above Gamma Charge in A tier, but these two and the one team-up I have in S, honestly are very close together in terms of strength, and can be argued anyway. Next up, Dimensional Shortcut for Magic and Psylocke or Black Panther. I don't think this ability significantly changes how you might approach a fight as these characters like the previous two team-ups. More so, it's a nice addition if you need a quick escape. Most of the time on Panther and Psylocke, you'll have an escape anyway with one of your dashes, so it's not insanely needed. But if you make a mistake, it lets you have a crutch to gain back some quick health and get out. And having that on two of the best dive DPS in the game, paired with a third best, makes for a danger to any backline. Since it's not crazy impactful in the game as a whole, but is still useful in some cases, I have it in B tier. Guardian Revival for Atom and Mantis or Star-Lord. Another good team up, but not great. Don't get me wrong, the reses are nice, effectively making you have to kill Mantis and Star-Lord a total of 4 times instead of just 2. But it's another team-up that doesn't really change the course of a fight. Mantis is already hard to kill, and unless you're going against Dive, Mantis will probably be one of the last to die in a team fight anyway. And if you are going against Dive, picking Atom Mantis is more useful for the Sleep Soul Bond survivability combo rather than the team-up itself. More of a nice added bonus. Star-Lord gets the benefit of being able to play a little more aggressively with the crutch, but even then it's probably something that I'll just have him dying twice in quick succession, rather than truly being able to take advantage of it. Simply because it is a full health res, and it is a nice crutch in case you make a mistake like the last team up, I'm going to put this at the top of B. Chilling Charisma for Luna and Jeff or Namor is another team up that won't change the course of the game, but is a real nice team up to have. On Jeff, it's fairly mediocre, but its impact is with Namor. Namor is already one of the top anti-dive characters in the game, but not only getting an extra turret, but one that slows down is a great addition to his kit. Not only this, but its activation requirement being the best support in Season 0 makes it a great team up to consistently get value from, and really helps with the cracked out Panther mains dashing through your backline. That being said, if you are going against Dive, the additional impact is minimal at best. It can help with his turret focus ability to focus down a squishy, but outside of that, it won't be making a large change on the outcome of fights. For this, I'm going to put this in B tier. The Allied Agents team up for Hawkeye and Widow is the first team up I would consider bad so far. Now, I don't think the team up is inherently bad. In fact, I would consider it to be pretty good. Having that afterimage creation on cooldown is a crazy tool for Widow. Even if you can't headshot them, 3 seconds of afterimages is more than enough to snipe at a squishy. The issue is just to run the team up, you have to run Widow in the first place. That's the biggest thing that takes this team up down for me. If Widow ends up buffed, this team up will likely rise to the rankings somewhere around B or C tier, since I do think it is a nice tool to bring out to improve Widow's killing potential, but for now, D tier. Frozen Key for Iron Fist and Luna is honestly a pretty nice addition to Luna. An extra tool for survivability, giving knockback, slowing around her, and healing teammates, as if Luna needed more survivability on top of her freeze and movement. There is a significant downside to this team up though, and similar to the last team up, that's using a DPS slot on a bad character, in this case, Iron Fist. On top of this team up is more of a last-ditch escape tool for Luna, as it's not good at shutting down persistent dives like her freezes. Although it could be useful to screw up a BP or Magic's combo if timed extremely well. Overall, I'd keep Frozen Key on the lower end of C tier. Symbiote Bond for Venom and Penny or Spider-Man is pretty useless outside of some slight extra damage that you can squeeze out. Well, on Penny that is. Spider-Man, however, takes his team up from underwhelming to great, since with it, he's able to one-shot combo squishies. By hitting with a web, pull kicking, uppercutting, and activating the symbiote all in quick succession, Spider-Man can go from just a persistent gnat to a terror on supports that look away for just a fraction of a second. Now, I don't think this elevates Spider-Man to a top-tier dive DPS still, at least not on console. Magic, Panther, and Psylocke just get too much value too consistently. But this does elevate him to something to fear in the hands of just the right players, which is enough for me to put this in a high B tier. Now, Webbed Acorn for Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl is one I can't really judge very well. And that's because I've had maybe one game max where I've had both a Squirrel Girl and a Spider-Man on the team together. But at least I can judge this theoretically. And even theoretically, it's not the greatest, honestly. I will say that it is nice to have yet another stun on Squirrel Girl, and honestly, hitting 3 stuns consecutively with her could actually be somewhat useful against dive tanks, where you can just consistently hit them and burst them down. Other than that though, I see this as a pretty niche team up and not something that was used very often. I'll put this in the bottom of C tier as at least I can see potential uses for it, even if it's very rare to get this team up in the first place. Man, Wolverine is already goofy enough in his own right, but then they decided to give him a team up with Hulk and Metal Cannonball, where he just gets yeeted across the map like a damn child. I love Wolverine so much, he's just so funny to watch play. As for Metal Cannonball itself, I mean, it's fine. It's nice to save Wolverine some time or ability usage so he can kidnap tanks easier, or to initiate a dive Hulk can follow in on. I don't think it's anything insanely special, but a nice quality of life team up at the end of the day. Mid-C is perfect for it. Lunar Force for Cloak and Moon Knight is a team up that seems better than it actually is. Moon Knight really isn't that invisible for this. The more you play against it, the better you get at seeing where he's shooting from the spear and tracking that. Hell, I make it a regular routine as Bucky to pull Moon Knights right out from under the bubble. That being said, this invisibility can come in real handy when Moon Knight plays height. It's somewhat hard to pull more direct physical plays against Moon Knight that might normally work to get him out of the bubble. And the normal way of giving him a fight is just sniping him, but it becomes harder as he strays within the bubble. I do consider this a nice little niche addition to Moon Knight. Nothing detrimental, but nothing that's really going to elevate him beyond just slightly. So, top of C tier is good for this.
Hey, generic stock photo boss. I've got a great new idea for a team up.
Okay, lay it on me, generic stock photo employee.
So, the idea is we use the Guardians team up, but just for the Asgardians instead.
But isn't that kind of, I don't know, lazy?
You're right. How about only when one of them gets a kill?
But how will we decide who gets it?
Let's just throw on something random. Hella why not?
But what if they're not dead? We can't let all of those totally rare Hela kills go to waste.
How about we give them 50 extra health anytime she gets a kill?
Isn't that 20% of Loki's health?
Yeah, but it'll be fine. Oh, and let's make it so that she has no cooldown, so she can revive them multiple times in a fight.
You're a fucking genius. Besides, what are the chances this random character we decide to put in the game can get multiple kills in a team fight? She'll never be able to compete with top tier characters like my Wanda or Widow.
Metallic Chaos for Wanda and Magneto is honestly a pretty great team up. Magneto is already super strong as a tank, but with this sword he gains so much killing potential on top of everything. It has a pretty quick fire rate and it shreds squishies if they aren't careful. If you can get this off on an isolated hero, you can easily pick them off, or at least get some nice chunk damage off every once in a while. This team up would definitely be a contender for A tier if the downside wasn't that you had to play Wanda, who is just awful, so we can go into the middle of B. Voltaic Union for Thor and Cap for Storm is kinda useless. It's not awful for Cap, it gives him a bit of extra boost for his dive, but on Storm it honestly just does nothing. And this really doesn't do enough on Cap to justify specifically going for it. D tier. And finally, I save the best for last. Planet X Pals for Groot and Rocket or Jeff. And by the best, I mean the only team up I think is actively detrimental to the team if you use it. This team up is god awful, and the main reason for that is the problems it raises for Rocket or Jeff when you use it. At best, you're taking a support away from the team practically, as the support when on Groot is just going to be out of position to heal other teammates properly. At worst, you're just giving a free pick on the support, and that's the most likely outcome, honestly. Not only is the damage reduction not enough to offset how quickly you'll get shredded on Groot, but any stun on Groot also kicks you off his back, and could put both you and Groot in a bad position that the enemy team can capitalize on. Now, if you use this highly sparingly, it's not going to kill you, but it's honestly just better not using it at all, and just might as well play normally instead. F tier. And here's the final list. I just want to take a quick second and thank every one of y'all for tuning in and for the accomplishment of already hitting 150 subs. Feels crazy to grow this quick, and hoping to keep seeing it and hopefully a partner soon. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and leave a comment on how y'all's tier lists would go if you have something different. Also, make sure to come check out my Twitch, where I stream Rivals and other games occasionally every evening. And lastly, if you have anything you'd want to see differently, please let me know. I always strive to make my content the best for y'all I can. Until next time.